In this video, we're going to take a look at multiplying simple or what are called proper fractions. And a proper fraction is one that has a numerator, which is the top number, that is less than the denominator. So here's three examples of proper fractions. 1/3, the 1 is less than the 3. Remember, numerators on top, denominators at the bottom. -4/7, and you don't worry about the negative here. So you're actually just saying, okay, 4 is less than 7. Now, -4 actually is less than 7, but it's strictly just the 4 that you're saying, okay, that's smaller than 7, so it would be a proper fraction. And 5/6 is proper. The 5 is slightly smaller than 6 by 1, but it's still a proper fraction. Now, to multiply fractions, and I'm going to do another video that deals with when they're mixed or improper, you multiply the numerators together, and then you also multiply the denominators together. So let's call the fractions, and we'll get into some specific examples with numbers on the next page, a over b and c over d. And so to multiply these, I would multiply the a times c on top and the b times d in the denominator. And of course, instead of writing a times c, you can write it ac. ac means a multiplied by c, and bd is the same as b multiplied by d. So you multiply the numerators together on top, denominators together on bottom, and that's it. So here's some examples. In the first one, we're multiplying 3/4 by 1/2. So we multiply the 3 times 1 in the numerator and the 4 times 2 in the denominator. And 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 2 is 8 in the denominator. So 3/4 times 1/2 is 3/8. You should always check to see if your final answer reduces. It does not in this case. We'll take a look at that in some of the other examples though. There's no number besides 1 that divides evenly into both 3 and 8. And so this is in reduced or lowest terms form. Number 2, example, we're asked to multiply 6/11 by 2/3. So we multiply the 6 times 2 in the numerator and the 11 times 3 in the denominator. And so 6 times 2 is 12, and 11 times 3 is 33. So once again, see if you can reduce it. 12 and 33 both divide evenly by 3. So if I divide 12 by 3, goes in 4 times. If I divide 33 by 3, goes in 11 times. So the final simplified answer will be 4 over 11. So if you left an answer like 12/33, 12 over 33, it's the correct product of the two fractions we started with. It's just not reduced. Typically on a math test or quiz, you might get some of the marks for this answer, leaving it like that, but then full marks if you reduce it to the lowest terms. Example number 3, we're multiplying -2/5. So the last two examples deal with if some of the numbers in the fractions are negatives. And so we're multiplying -2/5 by 3/7. So in the numerator, we multiplied -2 by 3 and 5 times 7 in the denominator. And so in the numerator, -2 times 3 is -6, and 5 times 7 is 35. Now, a lot of times you'll see people leave answers like this. It's a better convention or an accepted way of doing it if you write that negative in the middle, because the whole fraction is negative. And sometimes you might need to say, well, the top number is negative or the bottom number is negative for some particular application. But the most accepted way if the answer is negative is to write a negative in front of the fraction like that. Last example, in number 4 here, we're asked to multiply 4 over -5 by -5/12. And so we multiply the 4 by, so you can think of this negative as belonging to the 5. If you wanted to, you could think of the negative as belonging to the 12 in the bottom. Just don't think of the both numbers as being negative. It's not -5 over -12. If the two numbers were both negative, then it would actually be a positive fraction because of the fact that a negative divided by a negative is positive. So one of the numbers is negative, not both of them in this case here. So 4 times -5 in the numerator, -5 times 12 in the denominator. So 4 times -5 is -20. And -5 times 12 is -60. Now, they're both negative, and we're going to reduce this. And there is a simpler way to do this, but I want to explain things rather than just giving like answers. So the two numbers are both negative, and so you can, because a negative divided by a negative is positive, you can just write that as 20 over 60, because two negatives divide to give you a positive. Now 20 divides into both of these, so 20 goes into itself once, and it goes into 63 times, and so we get we get 1/3 for a solution. Now, one more thing. I said there was a little simpler way to do this, and I will show this up here. So a moment ago, we had negative 20 over negative 60. So instead of changing it to both positives and then divided by 3, we could have actually divided that by negative 20 to get 1, and we could have divided that by negative 20 to get 3, and so there's your 1/3 answer. So that's another slightly different way to do it. And that's the end of the video.